Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's edition of From the Boardroom to the Locker Room. And tonight we are joined by a man who's had over 1,600 winners, 17 grade ones, 40 other grade winners, and the previous winner of some of the best races in South Africa, the Durban July, the Met, and the Summer Cup. Trainer extraordinary, Alec Laird, welcome to the program ahead of the 120th Durban July. How are you? And welcome to the show.
Hi, Louis. Thanks very much for inviting me. Yeah, I think it's the 129th running, hey?
Yeah,
As far
absolutely.
as I know. Because we won the 100th running with London News, and now it's 29 years later. So
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I was looking through history, and London News, of course, won the race, and then you took the horse overseas, and how so much has changed since then. And you paved the way, didn't you, for horses to go overseas and race in other places, in other
I
countries.
guess I was lucky enough to hit that window when they opened the quarantine station to go. I mean, we were the first to do that, so that's kind of a feather in my cap, yeah.
So you say 129th running. It doesn't get old. I mean, it gets old in terms of years, but I mean, it's still the premier horse race in this country and one of the premier horse races in the world.
Yeah, I mean, every country's got the one race that an owner wants to win as a racehorse owner. The one on the calendar is the July. It's always been. Yeah.
What makes it so special?
It's a good question, but in the old days, it used to be a handicap, a proper handicap, and guys would plan. I'm talking about long ago, even before my father's time. Gambling was a big part of it's still a big part, but the trainers themselves and that they used to work really hard to pull off betting coups, and the July was the one where you planned well in advance to get your horse to qualify in the race with as little weight as possible. So that was quite an art in trying to pull off a bet. Yeah.
It is a prestigious race. How do you get a horse into the Durban July? What does a horse have to do to get into that race?
Basically, they got to be one of the better horses in the country. Yeah. So you got to be in that echelon. I mean, it's you qualify by racing at that level, and also you want a horse that goes the 2,200 meters. You know, you could get a horse that's of that quality, but he's a sprinter, and he might even get in the race because of his rating, but it's not done often.
In the history of the race, Sid Laird, obviously relation dad, Justin Snaith, Mike de Kock, and yourself have had winners, many of them. But the young up-and-coming trainers, if I may, I mean, Justin Snaith is not necessarily young up-and-coming, and Mike de Kock is now a veteran of the sport. They've had some fantastic horses, and clearly they have done exceptionally well. But there's also been, and I don't mean it as a one horse wonder, but there have been horses that have won this race, and anybody or any horse, I guess, that starts can actually win it.
They're all trying to win. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
There's 18 runners, and all 18 jockeys are doing their best to win. It's, you'll find a race in the midweek meeting or ordinary race. The jocks they realize their horse is not up to it, and they don't push as hard to get a position or cut somebody else out of the position, and that's what makes it such a tough race, because all 18 horses are trying for that gap. Whereas in an ordinary race, the guy says, "Look, my horse doesn't feel great. I'll let you take the gap this time. I want it next time," type of thing. But yeah, they have had upsets before. So all horses have qualified, and they're all luck and running. You never know. It's I mean, this year everybody's expecting the favourite to win. He's one of the shortest price favourites of the history of the race, and if he doesn't win, it'll be a surprise to everybody, to a lot of people. I mean,
so I drive past the old Milnerton racecourse, which is now the stables, and they run the horses there in the morning at about 6:15 in the morning,
yeah.
and I see the guys riding the horses. They've got because it's pitch dark, it's freezing cold, and they've got these little headlamps on their head. Take us through a day in the life of a trainer, of a groom, of a jockey, of a horse training, not only for the July, but just in general training for races on the weekend.
Yeah, well, it's early mornings, as you say. We want to get the exercise done, and then the horse can get back to the yard and have his meal. so you can recuperate through the day. I mean, also the rest period is just as important as the exercise period. So you get that work done, and then you can take we might have an afternoon walk. So yeah, it's up early, crack of dawn on the track. We'll take the horse's temperature, see how he ate. If he didn't eat, then we worry about that. That's the only way we can tell if the horse is feeling well or not. So you check the manger, take his temperature. If he's all good, then you go to the track, and you got your program. I mean, your fast work days might be three in a week, but otherwise it's sort of maintenance work where they do a slower canter. That's the program you'll set out, and then gallops are the most important, where you go on the grass. So in a 3 to 4 week period, you'll plan when you're going to do that gallop, and the sand work is the build up to that workout, and that's the most important workout of the month, really.
When you were a kid and you were watching your dad do all of this, was it any different then to what it is now? How much more scientific is it these days?
There are some advancements in science, yeah. I mean, my dad's time they used to do it with the clock, work against the clock, which not many people do that these days. But we've got GPS monitor things that you can put on the horse, and gives you a speed. It gives you gives you a stride length. It's got a lot of technology advancements in that way, which obviously with technology changes all the time. You can get the heart rate recovery and stuff like that, which is something my dad didn't have access to.
But when it gets down to race day, it's the horse and the jockey, and they need to be as one, don't they?
That's the ultimate. If you get a jock that knows the horse, I mean, it's difficult for a jock. Sometimes it happens. A top boy will get a ride that he hasn't ridden before and take it. I think somebody like Warren Kennedy's riding Confederate in the race. He's never ridden him. He probably worked him at Turfentine, which will help a bit. But it's hard for a trainer to converse to the jockey what exactly makes the horse comfortable, or what he prefers, when to switch him on, how he comes out the gate, stuff like that. So if a jock knows the horse, it's an advantage going into a big race, because he knows the different things that make the horse how he ticks in that.
Yeah, because I mean, a jockey can ride 9 different horses in an afternoon, so he really has to be switched on, and he needs to understand and feel the pulse of the horse.
They know that horse from previous runs, and then they look at the race, and they'll assess where they want to be, and they'll have a plan in their head where they want to be. It doesn't always go to plan, but you got to plan something, or like where you want to place the horse. Some horses are handy. They're front runners, or they come from behind. They're closers. Like the favorite this year, he's a closer, and a lot of people are saying he's going to need a clear run, because it's a bigger field than what last time out he ran in a smaller race and he just looped the field. So that's one of the things that they'd have to worry about, on that jockey on that horse,
You're listening to the edition of From the Boardroom to the Locker Room. We'll have more for you after these.
Hi, I'm Louis Karpas. Join me on the next edition of From the Boardroom to the Locker Room as we preview a super sporting weekend. There's Test match cricket, there's Test match rugby, there's the British Grand Prix, there's the Durban July, there's the Tour de France. It's all happening on another fantastic sporting weekend. And let's not forget strawberries and cream at the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club. That's the next edition of From the Boardroom to the Locker Room. Join us then. How much does the crowd affect a horse's performance? Because a lot of these horses will run at a racetrack where there might be a handful, and I say that with respect. And then you get the Durban July or the Met, and there's 30, 40,000 people there. Do the horses react differently when there's a lot of people around?
Definitely. I mean, if they're not used to it, they can. Most horses are okay. I mean, there's a smaller percentage of horses that will get affected by it, and sometimes, I mean, that depends on the horse's temperament. You get a horse that is an excitable type, and then he gets to that occasion, they might get a lot warmer in the parade ring, and on the way to the start, they might be a lot more fractious. But the green horse is also affected. The horse that, like you say, hasn't experienced that, and especially if they haven't even raced, they get affected by the noise in the crowd. They might not be able to do their best.
When we look at the week before the race, I mean, in Johannesburg and particularly in Cape Town, temperatures are absolutely zero and even colder in the mornings. And then you move to Durban where you've got warmth and humidity. When do you take horses up, and how does the weather conditions affect the horse?
I wouldn't think the weather conditions affects them at all. Myself, I wouldn't take that into consideration. Horses generally they can they can withstand all sorts of temperatures. Basically, I think what they do in the cold weather, they maybe burn a bit more energy, so they maybe lighten up without having to work too hard if it's cold. But they're burning energy to stay warm. But that's not a big factor. The factor is the travel. It's a fair travel. A horse can be dehydrated from the travel, and it'll affect him. Majority of the horses running from Johannesburg will be coming down tomorrow, and if they're good travellers, they're fine. You know, it's done all around the world. Horses travel close to a race and perform.
Let's talk about the field, if we may. Oriental Charm won last year, drawn one, number one. Is that a good draw at Greyville?
It is if you can handle it. If you want to, I mean, that particular horse, he wants to be handy, so it's a little bit tricky for that horse. I think one draw, because he's a horse. If you bounce him and set him a lot, he's pretty keen. He wants to over race, but at the same time he wants to hold his position on the fence. He doesn't want to be looped around and shuffled back in the field, because that's not his racing style. His racing style is to be handy, or if not lead. If not lead, he's right there. We were discussing that the other day. I mean, Cabello Mazzaniani knows the horse well. He says he thinks the horse can run from settled with the lead behind another horse, but most of his best runs have been when he's actually had the lead. I think last year he led the July and he won. So it's quite tricky for him. That one draw he's got to bounce that gate, and without chasing him too much. So it's all different. One draw for another horse that wants to sit off the pace is fine, because you just come out the gates and you'll be on the fence in a handy position.
Carrying 60 kilos, is that a disadvantage or?
Of course, yes. Any weight is a disadvantage, but he's earned it. You know, he's last year's winner. His last couple of runs have been exceptionally good, and he's earned that weight. You know, he's one of the better horses in the race. So it's only fair he gives his weight away.
So tell us about the rest of the field. I mean, I know you've got a horse in the race, but when you look at the field and you take away the fact that you're training one of those horses as a horse racing fan, would you say it's a strong field this year?
Basically, with 8 on 18 in the race, that brings a lot of glamour to the race, because he's an exceptionally. I mean, the way he won the Daily News was very impressive. So I mean, he's quite a special horse. So that brings it makes the race a strong race just with him alone. And then you got last year's winner, and he ran a cracker in the Met. You got Atticus Finch won the Summer Cup. So I mean, with the Durban season, they do call it the champion season, because we all converge from Cape Town, Joburg, and Durban on the champion season, and it's a strong enough race. You don't win the July with a weak horse.
And tell us about Atticus Finch.
Yeah, you know, as a 5-year-old, I think he's got a little bit stronger. You know, horses tend to peak by the time they're 5. Some horses have peaked at 4, but he's stronger than he was last year. And you know, I think last year we ran second in the consolation, so we're taking our chance in the main race this year. And to me, he's in a better shape than he was for the Met, where he finished out of the money, but he didn't finish too far back. And he's also in better shape than he was when he ran 4th this race in Johannesburg, the Champions Challenge. Based on that, I think we can be hopeful to make the first 4.
And if you were a betting man and you were looking at the field and you thought to yourself, well, what's a decent outsider to perhaps put a rand each way on, who would you suggest?
Atticus Finch. But there's a lot of others. There's a lot of others that, I mean, they're peaking for the race. I think a horse like what's his name, Gavin Lorena's riding for Frank Robinson. He finished 4th in the Summer Cup. he achieved a rating after that, and then it was dropped, and he still subsequently hasn't gone back to that rating. So I think he won his last start the other day, and he's a nice dark horse. Remind me of his name, I forget.
It's Madison Valley.
That's him. Yes, I think that's a nice dark horse.
Excellent. Now, I know that gambling in South Africa was an integral part of horse racing before the casinos came along. Obviously, they first were in Botswana and places like that. And then, obviously, Hollywood Bets has got involved and online gambling has got involved. So I guess the betting at the race courses and the traditional bookmaker standing there waving his piece of paper as he did all those years ago and calling the odds has fallen away to a certain extent. But I guess when it comes to the July, everybody puts a bet on, don't they?
Yeah, it's that sort of race. It's like it's the in Australia they got the Melbourne Cup, and it's the race that stops a nation there. I mean, the July, I think it used to stop a nation. We used to get front page coverage of the Sunday Times with the result in those days. But it is, I mean, always, what's going to win the July? It's the one bet of the year that people have that aren't racing people.
When we look at the other activities that Hollywood Bets and the organisers have put on, they certainly are making it an exceptionally huge social event. I mean, not anywhere close to the likes of Royal Ascot, but obviously they're trying their best to emulate those kind of big race days, and they seem to be getting it right.
Yeah, I mean, we're all very appreciative of Hollywood Bets, the way they're lifting racing around the country, and whatever they do, they're trying to involve different people and bring newer people to the races, and their involvement it's a win.
And also, I guess what's nice about it is that now it really is a family day. I mean, you can come out there, you can bring the kids along, you can sit on the inside of the track, and you as a trainer, I mean, you get along there. Do you actually get a chance to enjoy all the stuff that goes on the day, or is it just work, work, work?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's such a thing for kids. I don't know that, but I do. I used to enjoy it a lot more as a youngster because you're going for a little run along yourself. But nowadays it's more work really these days for me.
It doesn't get old though. I mean, it's in your
No, it
blood.
doesn't get
Surely.
old. Look, I mean, we're going to be racing with friends, and it's exciting. So we're going to. We'll have a few drinks. We'll have to Uber there and back, and it's a good day. It's a good day out. Very good day out.
It's not only the main race of really good races as well. There were 11 races on the card, I think, this year.
Yeah. Is it 11 or 12? Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's the Garden Province, and there's the Stayers race. There's the Sprinters race. So there's something for everybody. It's a prestigious day.
Lovely stuff. Alec, it's always lovely chatting to you. It's going to be a great day out, and all the best for your horse. And we'll be looking closely to see if you can lead that horse into the winners' parade at the end of the day on Saturday. It'll be fantastic.
That'll be a fairy tale, eh? Yeah.
It sure
Thanks,
will.
Louis.
It sure will. That's tonight's edition of From the Boardroom to the Locker Room, the big one this weekend. The Durban July at Greybull Racecourse. It's going to be a fantastic social event as well as a sporting event. Let's not forget the social aspect, but the fact that these magnificent horses will be performing at the highest level. We'll bring you the results and a look back at the big race when we chat again on Monday. And we'll do a full preview of all the magnificent sporting activities that take place this weekend. There's Wimbledon. There is rugby test match action. There is the Durban July. There's the Club World Cup. There is just a plethora of magnificent sport. And let's not, of course, forget the other horses, horsepower, the British Grand Prix as well at Silverstone. All that and more tomorrow night's edition of From the Boardroom to the Locker Room. As always, be nice to each other. Until next time. Bye for now.